It's actually the key question. If we cut our emissions to net zero, like the Prime Minister wants, by how much will that cut the world's temperature?
Well, there's no action by Australia that's going to change the temperature of the globe at all. I mean, it's part of a sort of a global action plan, and but Australia by itself makes no difference whatsoever. No difference at all. I mean, that's
all right. So we've got
to say
that.
other things and to shy away from the question is to not be straight with people.
Exactly correct, and I'm grateful to you for answering. I think you're the first political leader to do so. The other part of it is, so it won't actually change the temperature, and the world collectively will barely make a difference either. It won't change the world's temperature. Now, what about the cost? That's the second question, obviously. If we cut our emissions to net zero, have you been told how much this will cost us per person?
Well, that is the purpose of why we're going through this deliberation this week, Andrew, and the reason for a decision that will go for decades, I think we need a week to go over it. And we've been doing that. And for myself, I've tried to be the impartial arbiter because I think that's, as a leader, that's my role. It can't be the views of one person, it's the views of the party, because that party represents so many corners of regional Australia, and they're not going to have my independent views foisted on them. I'm supposed to be the vessel that goes into bat for their views. And the best way to determine their views is, of course, through the resources of the members and senators who are in those electorates to hear those views. Now,
absolutely.
We've had
the question they will have is how much, Barnaby? They'll be asking you, Barnaby, how much is this going to cost us? That's what they'll be saying. Well, you know it's not going to make a difference. So what is actually the cost of these policies per person, by 2050, by 2030, whatever?
Well, my answer to that is I don't know. But what I do know, and I think it's, see, on that, Andrew, it's not flippant. I know some people will grab that and run with it. In any budget, whether it's a Labor budget or a Liberal budget or a coalition budget, if you go to year 4 on the forward estimates, have you ever seen them ever come to be true? They're generally miles out. You know, I mean, I don't even know why they bother putting them in. You know,
I got you. But
so this model,
Joyce,
you know, when people say
Joyce, you're selling. This is the frustration for me, right? And I really appreciate your honesty. You'll probably be punished for it, but this is ridiculous. You're being honest when other politicians are getting praised for being dishonest. It's a policy that won't make a difference for a cost you don't even know. How can anyone buy a product that they don't know will work and they don't know the cost?
Well, what I know is that, of course, you can't let the Labor Party is all for this. They're going to legislate it. And I think that's a really big difference, Andrew. They're going to legislate it. And once that happens, that's what the Labor Party are going to do. She's locked in. And we're on that train ride no matter where it goes. And the Labor Party are doing it without any understanding of how they get there or any understanding of what the cost is. Now, we are not legislating it. The Labor Party are setting a 2030 commitment. You've got to get moving on that right now. You'll be locking in things and locking people out of their job. What we have been doing in the last week is to answer your question and to look into it and to say, well, what is required as far as we're concerned to mollify, remove, and to make sure in some of the what we determined to be some of the outcomes, and to make sure that regional people are left in the same or better position. And that is exactly what we are doing. And straight away, we ruled out things such as 2030 targets, just saying, well, don't even bother mentioning that, because there is no way on earth that one can ever fly. This one is incredibly difficult, but let's see where we land. But the other one...
I'm so glad you've done that. You've made a difference, but when you start talking about, well, Labor will be worse and we maybe have to do something, this is the traditional Liberal way of excusing their bad behaviour. We'll do what the Labor Party wants, but we'll do it better.
Well, can I just say something? I think it's really important. We have not said we are doing this. That decision is yet to be made. Good. We have not said that we are doing this.
Excellent.
That decision is yet to be made.
Well, I still live in hope then for a few more days. Good.